Hello, everybody, and welcome. On February 20th, a new FAQ with the Taboo list was released by FFG, and I'm checking it out. We're going to read all of the new additions, all that stuff, and gonna share my thoughts on it, even though most of my thoughts are probably brief. Maybe this FAQ list we won't go on a random rant or anything, like I did last time, where I just got sidetracked. But let's see. Let's dive in. We're going to be just only checking out all the new red text, which is how you know when something's new. Necro Toaster, thank you for the subscription. Welcome to the Golden Table. It's a pleasure to have you. Isn't it, Russ? Isn't it? All right, let's dive in. All right. Hey, ow. Your claws, buddy, your claws. We need to trim your claws again, for sure. Spoilers, there's always a rant. There's always a rant. There's always a rant here. All right. The Blonde Ate Everything Resolution 2. Add Alien Instruments Corrosive... So this is just Errata, right? That's what this is? Yeah. Campaign Guide Errata. Alright, G-Men to list of assets play that can be added to an investigator's deck. Okay. Note these assets are found in the blob that ate everything else. Nice and simple. On Thin Ice Resolution 2, add the following text to the third bullet of this resolution. If no investigator controlled the Sable Glass in the scenario, choose an investigator to be its bearer. Update the campaign log accordingly. Awesome. Errata's usually pretty boring, so there's nothing really to say here. Shades of Suffering setup. Add the following after the fourth Billy point. Gather each decoy mini card and the Su Sun Yang mini card and set them aside out of play. Easy peasy. Congress gives keys setup. Version 2. Add the following sub-bullet points after the fourth bullet point. Remove all other coterie enemies from the game. And then we actually have, looks like this is the new, this is the feast symbol, right? Twisted Hollow, Longest Night, and some Codex stuff. Okay, I'm not going to read that because I don't want anything. Come on, buddy, come on. You don't need to be doing that. Okay. Just some simple errata. Nothing to really write home about there. New pictures, though, from Hemlock, which is kind of sick. Which is kind of really cool. Alright, Burden of Leadership. So this is FAQ, right? We're now in the, No, we're still in card errata. Okay, we're just in card errata here. Okay. Burden of Leadership. This card's revelation ability should read, otherwise, for each ally as you control, you must either exhaust it or deal 1 direct damage, and 1 direct horror. This is this change I think is just fixing it so there's no rule Andes out there making like, you know, being like, well, technically my weakness actually doesn't do anything, so that's how I'm gonna play it because I'm a rules Andy. You know, we don't have any of those going here with that, so that's nice. Agenda 1B, the Risen Dead. Okay, so this is Scarlet Keys. The cards for sentence should read for each risen and ghoul enemy and spawning on a random location. Sure. Nice, nice. Good job. Alright, we're happy for you. Alright, I want to get into, like, the rules stuff, because that's what I actually like to pay attention to. Definitions and terms. Okay, an investigator cannot play another investigator's signature card. If a game effect would force a player to take control of a card with another investigator's signature card attached, that signature card is discarded. So that would come into play if, for example, Roland Banks had his gun on in a backpack, and then you teamworked the backpack over, right? Or they got teamwork ad hoc. Okay, that makes sense. This is actually probably one of the rules that I enjoy the least in the game. Like, I understand it. You want the characters to feel unique, and the character signature items are kind of why they are that way, you know? But I do think the game would be more fun without this rule, but I understand it, and at least it's super consistent. Hey, Russ. Come on. Don't be a butt. Don't be a butt. Owie. Come on, buddy, please. If you want to be in the room, you have to be good. Those are the rules. But at least it's consistent. And like this whole thing where if it's like something attached, so like the ad hoc with Wilson Richards or an item in a backpack, that does all check out. Team working Mitch Brown to Charlie Kane, too strong. Honestly, I think they should let you do it. It's kind of more fun. It's kind of just a bit more fun, isn't it? But I understand why they don't, but I think they should let you do it. All right. What's next? Nothing for a while. Okay. Ooh. This is a little bit spooky, this art right here. Alright, shifting slots. So, some effects allow investigate put assets in one more slot. So, Kohaku has Occult Reliquary in play when he plays Blessed Blade. He chooses to have Occult Reliquary grant him a hand slot to hold Blessed Blade. If he later plays another Blessed card, such as Hallowed Mirror, he can choose to have the new card take up the additional slot and define the slot type while he moves Blessed Blade to his default hand slot. Okay, so this is just like what we've talked about previously. There's the new card in Hemlock Vale, Occult Reliquary, which gives you an additional accessory hand or arcane slot? One of them. It's those three. And it only if it's blessed or cursed. And what this allows you to do is, this is basically just saying, yeah, man, you can change it. You can change it as you see fit when things, like when slots would change. Which is how we thought it was going to be, but it is nice to get some clarification in the FAQ. Alright. 1.28, clues on player cards. Wow. Some cards, such as Kate Winthrop's ability, may place clues on a card controlled by an investigator. Clues that have been placed on a player card are still controlled by that player and may be spent as normal. If the game effect would cause a card with clues on its leave play or leave an investigator's control, place each clue on that card on its location. Pretty straightforward. Basically just saying, hey, this is actually how Kate works. Kate doesn't break the game. The clues are still yours. They're just on your stuff. And if it leaves play, you drop the clue on your location. Which I think is actually going to potentially be kind of neat to play around with. Can I not even copy a signature skill with Copycat? I don't know, man. I don't know. It didn't say it in the FAQ. I don't know. I'm not here to answer questions. I'm here to read a book right now. Alright, controlling and attaching permanent cards. A card with a permanent keyword cannot leave its controller's play area unless directed by scenario card effects. Cards with a permanent keyword cannot be attached to other cards in the investigator's play area. Investigators cannot take control of another investigator's permanent cards. For example, you cannot attach Sin Eater to Alrubash, even if Sin Eater has one or more Doom on it. This is something that I thought is this new, or is this just one of the things that or is this started as an email ruling that they've changed into an actual official ruling? Is that what this is? Because I feel like we've known this for a while, but is it just because it's been unofficial and now it is official? That's what, is that probably what it is? Because I feel like I've known this for eons. But it's nice, once again, to have it in the FAQ. Alright. Alright, keep this going. Revelation ability priority. Oh, interesting. Okay. If an investigator is both a dilemma card and a weakness and encounter card in their hand, the weakness and encounter card must be resolved first, okay? If a dilemma card is drawn while resolving a skill test, resolve the skill test in full before resolving the dilemma's revelation effect. Clean, simple, nice, easy, I get it, right? They're doing their work to avoid nesting things. Like, this is like basically it's like taking the nested skill test, but being like, hey, don't resolve your shit until this shit has finished resolving. Just be a good ARKHAM player and just be patient and wait your turn. Okay. Hey, buddy, how's it going? You're looking good. Alright. Okay, we got a lot of new FAQ stuff to talk about here. How exciting. This is just general FAQ. On Your Own, 236, and On Your Own, 10, from the Return to Forgotten Age, are the same level, although the latter has the exceptional keyword. Can I upgrade the former into the latter version? Can I be honest? Can I be honest for a second and admit something that makes me feel a little bit embarrassed? I always have a hard time remembering which one's the former and which one's the latter. And I just, like, when I read the second half of the sentence, I, like, don't remember which one's which. I just am like, okay, this is the one they're obviously referring to because it's the only one that makes sense in context of their question, right? So to me, I actually think the whole former and latter thing is a myth that we just need to drop. I remember ladder is laster. Oh, that is huge! Super Fang, you just dropped some huge tech for me. Okay, ladder is laster. I can get that. I can do that. I can burn that into my brain. Okay. All right. Can I upgrade the former? That's the first one into the laster. We got there. Let's go. All right. Yes, you can. Of course. I don't even need to read this. I know how this works. Yes, you can upgrade the version of On Your Own without exceptional to the version with exceptional by spending 3 experience. I knew that. All right. Once again, I'm going to try to actually read. I'm going to try to answer the question before I read the actual answer. Okay. Can I commit grizzled when investigating a location that is one of its chosen traits? Yes, you can. I'm actually currently doing this with Ashcan Pete in an upcoming run. So I know you can do this. Yes, location cards are considered a type of encounter cards. If the location has one of the chosen traits for grizzled, you can commit grizzled to the investigation skill test. I'm playing Parallel Ashcan Pete, and my makeshift trap is in play has the explosive device upgrade with no time left. Can I use Pete's ability to return it to his hand and still deal the damage? No, you can't. They've also said this. No, using Parallel Pete's reaction ability on makeshift trap replaces the discarding of makeshift trap, meaning its explosive device upgrade ability cannot resolve. I think this is ultimately pretty fair. I think this is actually a good ruling for how that works. I think that people got so caught up in this, you can just loop dynamite, and didn't realize that this real strong thing of Ashcan Pete was just enemy control to the point that it's insane. And I agree, net is actually probably better for the long term. Yeah. Don't pick up something that is about to detonate, Dumbo. That's really funny. All right. If I activate the action ability on Beguile, so that is Alessandra's new signature, will I provoke attacks of opportunity if I choose to investigate? No! Because it's a parlay action, right? It can't. No. The action ability on Beguile is one action that has multiple types simultaneously. It is always the parlay action type in addition to its other types, activate, investigate, evade, so it never triggers the attacks of opportunity. Let's go! I mean, these are all actually easy questions to answer. It is ultimately good to have these things spelled out somewhere. And I actually also of note, the last FAQ and Taboo list was in August, right? I actually really enjoy the designers pushing an FAQ right before a new expansion, and I think the cadence of summer Taboo list, expansion Taboo list is a good cadence that they should go. Because I remember ages ago they said that they wanted to do more Taboo list updates, but it never happened. And I actually think that this is potentially the start of that. I'm hoping the trend continues. We're going to have to wait to see. If it might mean smaller Taboo lists and FAQ updates, but that's okay, right? Magic the Gathering, they update their Taboo list, their Taboo list equivalent, their rules book every time a new set comes out, and I think it's a good habit to get into. All right, if I have a copy of Beguile attached to an enemy at a different location than me, what happens if I choose to activate a Beguile's action ability to perform an evade action there? Okay. If there's something to evade, you can evade it, right? Because that's just how it works. Attach an enemy at a different location than me, what happens if I choose to activate to perform an evade action? You just evade. You just do the evade action, right? If you choose to activate Beguile's ability and evade, you can choose any enemy at the attached location to evade, even the one that's attached to Beguile, and perform an evasion attempt against the enemy's evade value. If you succeed, exhaust that enemy and disengage all investigators, and if you fail, discard that copy of Beguile as per its ability. Easy. It's all just easy. Actually, this is one that when Beguile came out and there was a lot of dialogue about, hey, wait a minute, this actually doesn't work, I was like, of course it works. It just seems so obvious to me, why would it not work? It's it's doing something new. Yes, it's doing something that hasn't been done before, but everything is spelled out on the card, and as per, the golden rule, it works. So I'm glad that they actually at least, clarified it here to be yes, you can do it. We believe in you. You can do it. All right. When playing Subject 5U21, otherwise known as Susie, can I devour permanents, investigator cards, investigator mini cards, or weaknesses? I think the answer to this is obviously no, right? I think the answer to this is no. I mean, I respect them. I respect the person who asked this question, but I'm pretty sure the answer to this has to be no, right? Susie cannot devour permanents, investigator cards, or investigator mini cards. However, Susie can devour certain weakness cards, specifically ones that enter play under their bearer's control and that don't have any abilities preventing them from leaving play. I actually did not realize that. I just assumed that maybe weaknesses were off the table, so I learned something new. I mean, I do appreciate the game of being like, I'm going to eat your Roland Banks mini card, and that counts as one of the cards I devoured, because the blob scenario shows that that actually can happen. But the Mythos deck can do things that we as investigators cannot, so we obviously can't, but I do appreciate the hustle. It's cool, though, that she can eat weaknesses. That is kind of neat. All right. When playing as Susie, can I play Refine to upgrade custom cards during a scenario? Ooh, interesting, because her deck building is different, right? Her deck building is different, where you actually don't get to upgrade until you know what in which... do you ever control weaknesses? Yeah, like the Tower and the Devil. You can control Dendromorphosis, right? Like basically a weakness that takes up a slot, right? If it takes up a slot and it's an asset, you can control it. I'm going to say no, you can't. But I mean, like, this is actually... I actually don't know the answer to this one. Because her upgrading is... yeah, Susie can eat your back injury. She can. Alright. Generally, no. By default, Susie can only upgrade cards from the class via the ability on the back of her Investigator card, meaning she can't use her Fine on most cards. The one exception is Hyperphysical Shockcaster. Susie can use her Fine on the Shockcaster because it's a neutral customizable card. That makes sense, right? So that's the only thing that you can refine with Susie. I dig it. That checks out. I'm here for it. Okay, awesome. What types of abilities can cause me to trigger the reaction ability on Stylish Code? So Stylish Code is the card that when a player card effect allows you to gain resources, you can exhaust it to gain one more. So this would be like any player card effect. I think there's a lot. I don't know how to answer this succinctly, so let's read what they say. The reaction ability on Stylish Code can be used when a card effect specifically instructs you to gain resources, such as with Salvage, any other card effects that place resources. Oh, okay, I know that makes sense. Such as with the 45 Thompson, or move resources from one card to another, do not trigger. I mean, that does make sense, right? As much as we give a lot of... we get a lot of guff to ARKHAM for their changing of words at certain times. For example, ignore and cancel, kind of meaning the same thing. The evade action also being in which you evade an enemy is like discovering a clue versus investigating, but it's evade and evade in the evasion stuff, which I think really should have been changed from the get-go. They are actually pretty consistent for other words, and I think the whole gain resources for Stylish Coat is actually pretty straightforward and goes across the thing. But again, it's nice to have this stuff like spelled out. Even if it means the FAQ document is getting huge, that's good, because you should see the Magic Rules document. And why do I always point at Magic when I'm talking about ARKHAM? Well, because Magic is a card game that's existed for 30 years. And honestly, while I don't think it's going to happen because, the world is burning as we speak, I would love for ARKHAM to be around for 30 years. I love ARKHAM, and I would like to keep playing it. All right. Go, Rita, go! That's new art. I like that art. Okay. Hey, all right. The list of taboos. All right. So I will temper your expectations right now because the new taboo list is pretty small. However, I do think this new taboo list is pretty big. So, scavenging, the level 0 version, is now 2 experience. This thing has been around in the core set, and the card is very, very powerful. If any cards are removed from the taboo list, does it show? No, they usually actually put it in the article. So I haven't heard anyone say anything about that, but it would not show in this document, no. So the scavenging, I mean, we can check the... We'll have the article up and we can check after. A shift in the mythos. You'd love to see it. Okay. The scavenging, level 0, now costs level 2. I think that's a pretty fair upgrade. Scavenging in itself, I think, is a very strong level 0 card. I would say easily too strong, to the point where I actually don't even bother going to the upgraded scavenging because it's not as necessary. Most of the stuff you're trying to do with scavenging 2, you can do with scavenging 0 just as well. Scavenging 2, on the other hand, is now scavenging 4. I mean, it's not actually scavenging 4, it's still scavenging 2, but now it costs you 4 experience. I think this is good. I think that, like, removing scavenging from the game would not be good. I like reasonable, fair scavenging decks. Like, recursion is fun, but definitely there needs to be, like, a control on this recursion. And I think that this scavenging upgrade is at least a good place to start. Why some people ask, I've always just assumed scavenging is still a level 0 card after being chained, but it's just a level 0 card that costs XP. Yes, that is right. So Bob can still play it, but it's now going to cost him 2 experience as an example. Because Bob can't play level 1 to 5 survivor cards, but he can still play level 0, which means he can still buy scavenging 0 to play. Old Keyring 3. So this is the old Keyring from Scarlet Keys. Now costs 4 experience. Which I don't personally think is needed with the scavenging the loop, because, like, I think Old Keyring 3, if you play it on its own, is pretty fine. I'm not going to complain, though. You know, like, I think that it's only fair. It is a powerful, very, very powerful ARKHAM card. So it's one of those things. And yeah, I agree with what you're saying in chat. Scavenging is more fun when it's I know it's a sometimes things, and chaining does that. Yeah. It's not just like something you got to put into your deck because you're like, shit, it's actually like an incorrect decision to not scavenge here. There's a sneaky ritual candles 23 in number red. Ritual candles. Oh, the hypnotic gaze. No, so the hypnotic gaze over here. It looks like they just had the hypnotic gaze match. Because they did that thing where, like, there was the level 0, but they didn't do the upgraded one, and they were like, we're going to ride this out, see what happens. And then they were like, you know what? Maybe that was kind of silly, let's do this. Or alternatively, if you're a little bit more pessimistic, maybe it was a whoopsies from the get-go. But if it was, I don't care. It's all synced up here. No justice for Wither. Yeah. Yeah, no justice for Wither, unfortunately. That is a little bit sneaky, though, but that is a nice change. And then Payday, last taboo list here. This card's ability now reads, gain 1 resource for each action you spent this turn. So, I looked at this. So it's for each action you spent, and this is each action performed. I'm pretty sure that... it's mostly just to keep it, like, easier to grok. Buff with doubles. Oh, okay, so it works with... because, yeah, you take 2 actions for it. Yeah, it is. This is actually, like, yeah, I think this is actually just, like, most of the time, you're still going to end up, like, gaining the same amount of resources with this change, but I do think it makes it more consistent and better in line with the text of everything else. Are there any changes? Anything removed? No other changes. Okay. Honestly, I think this is a nice taboo list change. It's pretty minor because we just had a giant one a few months ago. Like, that was only in August, right? That wasn't even like, that was like, what, 6 months ago? So yeah, it was 6 months ago. So we don't need to worry too much about, like, there being a little bit less on this, in my opinion, because we just had a giant one a few months ago, and I would rather them not change things just for the sake of changing things and letting kind of things, like, play out. Because I actually do think that I actually do think that most of the ARKHAM pool is actually pretty comfortable right now. And trust me, I would know. I played every card last year. That's it! Those are the new FAQ. You can find a link down in the description if you want to check this out yourself. Huge thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel, and huge thanks to you, FFG, for releasing a taboo list to surprise me on this Tuesday right before my stream. It was very kind of you. Thank you so much. Have a good one, and as always, GG's.